Rachel, when you were going out with Ross, did it bother you when he flirted with other women?
No, it bothered me when he slept with other women.
Jennifer Aniston is best known as the effortlessly stylish and endlessly relatable Rachel Green on Friends, the wildly popular sitcom that defined a generation and still dominates the streaming charts today. But while fans love the on-screen chemistry between Aniston and her co-stars, what many don't know is that behind the laughter, the iconic cast was following a strict rule that shaped their relationships off-camera. It wasn't about salary negotiations or wardrobe choices, it was a personal pact, one that came from the very top and required all 6 actors to honor a boundary that would keep their friendships intact and their performances at their peak. In this video, we'll dive deep into the one strict rule Jennifer Aniston was forced to follow on Friends: the Unspoken Pact.
You walked around all night in the city by yourself.
He hooked up. He hooked up with someone.
Look, I don't have to answer your questions, okay? I'm a big boy. I can do whatever I want.
He hooked up.
When Matthew Perry revealed the rule in an interview promoting the Friends reunion, fans were stunned to learn there was a no hookup policy on set. Perry explained the rule originated with director Jim Burrows, who understood the potential complications that could arise if romantic entanglements developed among the main cast. Quote, "If we were hooking up or there was any strangeness going on, that could have messed up things," Perry said, adding that it was, quote, "really important to the 6 of us that we kept a friendship." This meant that Jennifer Aniston, along with Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, David Schwimmer, Matt LeBlanc, and Perry himself were under an unspoken but collectively understood agreement. Their relationships had to remain strictly platonic. The reasoning behind the pact was more than just avoiding tabloid headlines. The creators and cast alike recognized how fragile on-screen chemistry could be if off-screen relationships soured. Friends wasn't just any show, it was an ensemble comedy that relied on the seamless interplay of 6 actors who felt like a real-life chosen family. This delicate balance could easily have been thrown off by any off-screen tension. Perry and his co-stars were candid about how essential this decision was to the show's success, with David Schwimmer calling it an unspoken rule, and Matt LeBlanc likening their dynamic to being, quote, more like siblings. Interestingly, while the male cast members agreed and acknowledged the pact, Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, and Lisa Kudrow had a slightly different take. In their reunion interview, the women joked about not remembering any such formal agreement. Cox admitted, quote, "I think it's a smart idea, but I don't remember actually talking about it," while Aniston and Kudrow teased that the men must have invented the rule to cover up that none of them were interested in the women. This playful back and forth only highlighted how comfortable they all felt with each other, underscoring the very bond the rule was meant to protect. For Aniston, who had already become a breakout star during the series' run, the rule may have been especially important. Her on-screen romance with Schwimmer as Ross and Rachel became one of television's most beloved stories, and rumors about the 2 of them persisted off-screen. In fact, both actors later confessed to crushing on each other during filming, though they never acted on it, perhaps proof that the rule held firm. Had they pursued that attraction, the show's dynamic and its portrayal of Ross and Rachel's complicated will they or won't they arc could have been jeopardized. Ultimately, the no hookup policy functioned as more than just a set of personal boundaries. It was a safeguard for the professional relationships at the heart of Friends, ensuring that the cast's camaraderie remained untainted by personal complications. In a Hollywood landscape where behind-the-scenes drama often becomes public fodder, this pact kept Friends as drama-free as possible, at least when the cameras weren't rolling. Jim Burrows and the director's influence. The idea for this rule didn't come from the cast themselves, but was suggested by Friends' legendary director Jim Burrows. Burrows, who had decades of experience in television by the time Friends launched in 1994, understood how rare and fragile ensemble chemistry could be. His goal was to preserve the show's unique dynamic, which relied heavily on its 6 stars acting as a believable group of close-knit friends. Burrows, who had also directed shows like Cheers and Will and Grace, was no stranger to navigating the interpersonal complexities of sitcom casts, and his recommendation for the Friends actors to keep things strictly professional wasn't just precautionary, it was protective. Burrows' insight proved prescient. Friends quickly became more than just another sitcom, it was a cultural phenomenon. At the height of its popularity, the series drew in nearly 25 million viewers per episode, and the actors' salaries climbed to a then unprecedented $1 million per episode. This level of fame could have easily strained their off-screen relationships. By adopting Burrows' rule, the cast was able to create a safe boundary between their personal and professional lives, preventing petty conflicts or romantic fallouts from bleeding into their work. Matthew Perry explained how impactful Burrows' advice was, saying, quote, "So we kept our friendship and we did become really good friends, and we are really good friends to this day." His sentiment echoed the purpose of the rule, to keep their bond unshakable even when the pressures of fame threatened to pull them apart. Lisa Kudrow echoed this in a later interview, saying their relationships off-screen weren't effortless, they, quote, "worked hard at being friends." Kudrow elaborated on this dynamic in her conversation with Dax Shepard, explaining that respectful communication was a cornerstone of their friendships. Quote, "If someone said something or did something, it didn't get too big, because it was, 'Can I talk to you?' she explained. It wasn't just the no hookup rule that kept them close. It was a shared commitment to maintaining open, honest dialogue. Kudrow admitted this communication style was new to her, but she learned it by observing Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, and Matt LeBlanc. It added a deeper layer to Burrows' original advice. Rules were one thing, but intentional effort was what truly kept them close. For Aniston, who was often in the spotlight more than her co-stars due to her burgeoning movie career and high-profile relationships, having a protective framework on set may have provided a safe haven from media scrutiny. Friends became a place where she could work and bond with her co-stars without the added complications of off-screen romantic entanglements. This environment undoubtedly contributed to the show's sense of authenticity, as their real-life friendships translated into the easy chemistry fans loved watching on screen. In the end, Jim Burrows' suggestion wasn't just about avoiding scandal, it was about fostering an environment where the actors could thrive as both performers and people. Jennifer Aniston and the Ross and Rachel effect.
Should we do something?
Yeah, never cheat on Rachel.
I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I was disgusted with myself, and this morning I was so upset, and then I got your message, and I was so happy, and all I wanted was to get her out of my apartment as fast as possible.
Whoa, wait a minute. What time did your little friend leave? Oh my God, she was there. She was still there? She was in there when I was in there? Oh, Jessica! Where?
Jennifer's role as Rachel Green wasn't just career-defining, it was pivotal to the enduring appeal of Friends. Her on-screen relationship with Ross Geller became one of television's most iconic love stories, with fans emotionally invested in their will they or won't they saga across the series' 10 seasons. Off-screen, though, they admitted to having mutual crushes on each other during the early years, a revelation that made headlines when it was disclosed during the Friends reunion. The confession added a fascinating wrinkle to the no hookup rule. Fans wondered how two people who were attracted to each other and portraying a romantic couple managed to avoid crossing that line. But as both actors emphasized, they channeled those feelings into their performances, allowing the Ross and Rachel dynamic to flourish without complicating their personal lives. In retrospect, this may have been a blessing for the series. Had Aniston and Schwimmer pursued a relationship and it ended poorly, the on-screen tension could have shifted from scripted drama to real-life awkwardness, a potential disaster for the show's storytelling. The cast's bond beyond the screen.
The test is ready. Rachel wrote Ross a letter and demanded he read it before they got back together. How many pages was that letter?
18 pages!
18 pages.
Front and back!
Front and back is correct.
Wait, do it one more time.
One of the most remarkable aspects of the Friends cast was their ability to remain genuinely close long after the show ended. Matthew Perry described their post-show dynamic with a touching metaphor. Quote, "Is after the show was over, at a party or any kind of social gathering, if one of us bumped into each other, that was it. That was the end of the night." He explained whenever he encountered one of his co-stars, they'd spend the rest of the evening catching up, leaving little room for everyone else. The anecdote illustrates how deeply connected the 6 actors remained. They weren't simply co-workers who clocked out at the end of the day, they were best friends for life. In the wake of Perry's tragic passing in 2023, the strength of the bond became more apparent. The remaining cast members released a joint statement mourning their friend and celebrating his legacy. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know about the no hookup rule on Friends? Let us know in the comments section below.